Hi, my name is Margie, and I've been making the hats for EDMT for several years now for some of their shows, and I'm fortunate to be able to make the hats and headpieces for Hello Dolly. Since it's a period piece and it takes place at the end of the 1890s, I do a little research on Pinterest to kind of look at the time period to see what hats might look like. Sometimes I have to rework a hat, repair a hat. This is a good example. This particular hat was very bent because it's wired, and I just ended up taking the bent part and making it the back of the hat and making the detail in the back. Irene, who is actually the milliner who makes the hats in the show, and she has a hat shop. So basically what I did was I took an existing straw hat, which actually had a dimple in the top like a fedora or a cowboy hat, and I flattened it out. You know, she would have it sitting sort of high up on her head. And then for Minnie, she's more youthful, so we gave her just a basic straw that we reconfigured, which has a nice little flat boater look with some ribbons and bows. Her hats will be larger, and they will be much more voluminous in terms of feathers or flowers or tulle or whatever we can do to make them large. And the heavier a big hat gets, the harder it is for the character to wear. So I start with something very light, and for this particular hat, I actually constructed the entire thing. There's kind of an organic process when I make a hat. I just start, and then I sort of see where I'm going, and then it just sort of speaks to me as I work through it. Well, I have her second hat that I'm working on right now. I actually started with a very basic hat that like an old bridesmaid would have worn, and it was big enough to fit on a head. And the minute you put wigs on someone's head, it adds a larger size. So getting a normal hat to fit on a wigged head doesn't work that simply. I basically slip covered the hat. A lot of basting and sewing and hand stitching and gluing. And that's before I add all the feathers and the flowers and everything else that goes on top. I've attached a small comb in the front, which allows them to sort of position it on their head. And then I have these little bows, which are made of something called horsehair braid that allows us to poke through bobby pins, and that gives them some ability in the back to pin it on.